So, we have talked about the dark side of business cards. Business cards are a hot commodity right now. But let's explore the other side of points and miles in general. Because points and miles are definitely a reason why we all get in the game. Everybody wants a return on their spend, but not everything appears to be what it is. Maybe things could be better, but things could definitely be a lot worse. And we're gonna get into it.
Welcome back to my dad's channel. If you're new here, make sure to click that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to share.
Well, full transparency. I've really been in the credit card miles and points game for about a year now. So I got my Delta Platinum Sky Miles credit card because for some reason I decided to do things before I researched, which was stupid, and I upgraded a Delta Blue card, so I missed out on a sign-up bonus, and I think I've told you guys that before, but there's no point in not being honest here. And then what happened was just getting that credit card and finding out all the perks and features, because it came in a box, and it was like a lot of ceremony, which I didn't quite understand for a credit card. It was my first metal credit card. I was 39 years old. I'd been using credit cards for 20 plus years, and I just not using them well at all. And that's what got me exposed. And then I started looking up YouTubers who started explaining to me points and miles and how to get into this game. And by January, I had actually acquired 3 more credit cards: the Amazon Prime, the American Express Platinum Charles Schwab, and the Amex Blue Cash Preferred. By that time alone, I had already had those cards. So now we're rolling into December, and I've been looking at points and miles. I've done my first redemption. I'll go ahead and link that video there. My first real redemption to go to Paris. And I realized that there's some things that a lot of people don't tell you. And there are a lot of selling points. So we're gonna go through 7 points, and we're gonna show you a little bit of the darker side of those points. So through my journey, I have actually earned over 500,000 credit card points, which has been absolutely fantastic. I've discovered great things. I've met fantastic people on the way. I've communicated with sage YouTubers who literally know the stuff inside and out. It has been very impressive. And that brings me to my first point. And my first point is, one of the great things about getting into credit card points and miles are the sign-up bonuses. I mean, let's just face it, they're the highest return on spend that you're probably ever gonna get on any credit card that you get, period, bar none. At this point, it's like you almost don't want to apply for a card without a sign-up bonus. Because it's like, are you really credit carding if you're doing that? Why are you going to leave that money on the table? And we all know how I feel about leaving money on the table. Give me that. But with these sign-up bonuses and these large influxes of points, and you have more people getting into the game day after day after day, these credit card companies have to honor these points. I mean, they're not real currency, but they do hold a value. And anything with value is always, always subject to inflation. And if you've watched the news anytime in the last 4 seconds, you've heard the word inflation. It is something on everybody's minds, and credit card currencies, be they transferable or proprietary, are all subject to inflation. It sucks. Your credit card points used to get you more last year. They're going to get you less this year. And inflation is a moving target that everyone is trying to pin down and is horribly unsuccessful. I'm just, giving you the truth as I see it. Now, our second point is with those points that they give you, or the miles that they give you, whatever they choose to call it, there's a chance for you to trade these points and or miles in for outsized value, be it aspirational travel. Hey, maybe you get a bonus and get some good cash back to put some money back in your pocket as a return on spend, which is fantastic, and it's a great selling point. It's a great thing to make videos about. I do believe I've made videos about them. As a matter of fact, I think I've made videos pretty much about everything because I've been so excited about this. But to tie in with the previous point of inflation is that just like we see the benefits going into our pockets, so do vendors and companies. And with that, to tie into inflation so that they get an equivalent of, the value of money and going rates. Companies that used to have award charts that had set amounts of miles and points that you could use to get great value for great products have now switched to a horrible thing called dynamic pricing. So On the positive, like Hyatt has a great reward chart, and they are one of the most sought after transfer partners. That's one of the most people who have the Chase trifecta, most people who have Chase cards tend to lean as Hyatt being their favorite transfer partner for the calendar. It is fantastic. Now, as opposed to that, my preferred hotel vendor, which I use, I have American Express cards for it, Marriott, has dynamic pricing, and the points redemptions can actually swing wildly. So like you have sites like the Points Guy that will assign, average values to points. Now, I've seen people who have been able to squeeze more value out of points than others, and others woefully less, because depending on the demand and the time of year, they can actually swing the points redemption values all over the place with dynamic pricing. This includes airlines, Delta. This includes hotels, Hilton, Marriott, cough, cough, and a bunch of other people. But that is one of the things that you have to watch out for is dynamic pricing. There are still some legacy carriers. There are still some other carriers who do use calendars. But the funny thing about it is you won't really see them advertise it. And I wonder why. Anyway, moving on in the news. Sticking with the currency aspect. Transferable currencies are amazing. Be it a thank you point, be it an MR point, be they Chase UR points, be it a Capital One mile, and I still want my Venture X. Well, anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Transferable currencies are amazing because their value is clearly tied into how dynamic they are. And transfer rates play a lot into that. So it's fantastic that I can spend money on my Amex card, which can translate into points on Virgin Atlantic, shout out to Virgin Atlantic, to take a trip on Delta around the world. That is fantastic. I mean, proprietary currency does have its ups, but at the same time, proprietary currency tends to lock you into one vendor, whereas transferable currencies that you can earn with a lot of credit cards using trifectas and maximizing your points accrual, they're absolutely fantastic, and I love them. But the issue with transferable currency, the business relationships. Business relationships play a huge role in transferable currencies. That's why 200 MR points from Amex, 250 MR points from Amex only gets you 200 JetBlue miles. But for some reason, 200 Chase points gets you 200 JetBlue miles. So different companies will have different relationships with one another, which can affect your transfer rate. That's not really the worst of it. The worst of it, though, is that most of the time when you transfer, it's a one-way transfer. So if you're not ready to pull the trigger, if you are not ready to do a redemption and you transfer these points, that is it. There is no going back, period. It is a one-way street. So then you think to yourself, that's not too bad because, hey, I can just bank them for later. But unfortunately, sometimes, life tends to start lifing and you don't take that trip or you don't stay at that hotel. And while your points are pretty much secure at a credit card company, as long as you have an account open, everyone tends to forget that your points, if you don't stay at that hotel vendor, they can expire. Some of these vendors, your points will expire after a, predetermined time of inactivity. So now you got 30,000, 40,000 points that you transferred over for a redemption that you never took. Life happened. Who knows what it could be? You forget about it. Now those points are a wash. That spend is a wash. You have returned nothing of value on your spend that you did. And especially you watched my channel, you thought I was pretty awesome and I showed you how to do these redemptions, and now you've lost out. You've left money on the table. And we all know how I feel about leaving money on the table. Give me that. So you think to yourself, I have these points, I'll just keep up with it because it's nothing for me to join these status programs. It's nothing. They're free, which is great, which is fantastic. These companies, once again, with their relationships, make joining their programs, which can gain you status, which can get you even more value on your redemptions, they're free. For the most part, I can't really think of one that cost anything to join, which is wonderful. That is a great way to get something for nothing. Well, not nothing. You're already spending, but at least you're getting a return. So that's definitely what we want. We want all the status programs that we have. I've been a member of Singapore status, Chris Flyers since January. I have yet to step on a United flight. or a Singapore flight. It is what it is. I just booked Delta through Virgin. I've never been on a Virgin plane. I can't remember the last time I saw one, and I go through Atlanta a lot. So the free status programs in the points and miles game are fantastic, because if we had to pay for them, then that would cause a diminishing return, and then it's just like, that's chewing into our profits. But if you saw my last video, well, not my last video, but a previous video that I did, I'll get and link that here as well, about my struggles with doing point redemptions. When you're new and you're getting into the game and trying to use these points you work so hard to accrue and save and optimize, you find that award redemptions are ridiculously hard to find. It takes a ton of patience. It takes running your head into the wall. It takes, sometimes you have to call American Airlines customer service out of Australia to hold that Q Suites flight that you're trying to take from Chicago to Male, because you want to make sure that you fly Q Suites, but you definitely want to fly it both ways, but you only got one redemption. So now you're talking to somebody in Australia, it's 2:17 in the morning, and then you're realizing that they have to hold it, and then you have to transfer the points over. And mind you, you're flying out of Chicago, but you live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so you need a repositioning flight, but you haven't heard of a repositioning flight, so now you got to get on, you got to look at my face. I have to tell you what a repositioning flight is, then you have to put more money towards that. That chews into your profits. You see where I'm going with this? You see how that can get really, really extra. So award availability can be an ultra fast moving target that you have to be ready on. You have to be ready to hit it when it's time, and it may inconvenience the rest of your life, or you may get an award flight, you may have to move it. There's blackouts, there's all sorts of things that could affect that. So that's definitely something that you want to keep in mind. So on the hunt for amassing as many points as we can amass to get some great redemptions, we have referral bonuses. Referral bonuses are a fantastic way to maximize your points. And really and truly, all you have to do is what I'm doing, is tell you about that and tell you about the links that I have down there, where we have the platinum card and other cards that you can apply for that will directly help the channel and help me actually probably get a better ceiling fan so that I'm not that hot while I'm filming these videos. But either way, those referral points and referral bonuses are fantastic. They are literally something for nothing. Spread the word, get rewarded. Spread the word, get rewarded. Before you know it, you're a total marketing executive, you're just not on the payroll. But referral bonuses are often so limited that you can only earn a certain amount of bonuses per year, because, well, even though exponentially, they can't really guarantee that you'll get everybody on earth when you're not going to bankrupt the company. They want you to talk about it, but they really kind of only want their people on the payroll, and they don't want you rivaling their salaries. But also, a thing with referral bonuses is that all referral bonuses are not created equal. There are elevated referral bonuses that you will get. American Express is notorious for that, that I may have a 60,000 MR point referral bonus for a gold card. Meanwhile, someone standing right next to me can give you a 90,000 MR point bonus for the same exact spend. But there's no way to tell who has the elevated bonus and who doesn't. And then on top of that, the values of the bonuses, the public available value of the bonuses tend to change, and they change arbitrarily at the credit card company's whim. So now, if you're giving me 30,000 points per referral and telling me I'm maxing out at 55,000 points a year, I have now literally gave you all the referrals. You've given me 55,000 points. I guess the 5,000 points were like a phantom protection racket charge or whatever. But now I'm out, and now for the rest of the year, I can keep referring people, but that is no bonus to me. And let's just face it, as much as an American Express fanboy I am, and I'm picking on them because they are my favorite company and I use them the most, as much of a fanboy as I am, I mean, that's not cool. Who wants to work for free? But anyway, I actually have an elevator bonus down there. You can actually use it. I've already maxed out, in the vein of transparency, I've maxed out, but you can still use the 90,000 MR points. I'll go ahead and put the one for the Blue Business Plus down there too. And by the way, when you use those referrals, once again, it directly benefits the channel. Once again, full transparency. So we're coming up on the end, and another great benefit, and it's one that people don't understand is a benefit, but they understand its utility, are retention offers. When you get into the points and miles game, there is a push and pull. There's a give and take. It is always there. So what happens is per year, you get charged basically a membership fee, an annual fee to be a member of this club that gets these points that a lot of people with no annual fee cards actually end up paying for because they're a part of the same credit card system, but they're not getting the same benefits as you. There is a price to play. You got to pay to play. But with retention offers, that gives you a little leeway that after you have satisfied your year-long membership, they've already gotten their money. In order for them to retain your membership, they may have to sweeten the pot for you, and sometimes people can get very lucrative retention offers. But while retention offers are available, there's no guarantee you may get the one that you're after. And depending on your card history and your spending habits, you might not even be profitable for the credit card company. They may even tell you that a redemption offer specifically is not available for you, which is definitely a total letdown, especially when you've concocted a fantastic story as to why, oh my God, these benefits aren't really valuable for me, but you definitely want to keep the card. Now you're stuck paying another annual fee to use the same benefits without that, that pot sweetener. And if I could do sound effects, I would do like the little fairy dust thing. But anyway, we'll move on with the thing here. But that's the but when it comes to retention offers. You have to understand that your relationship with the issuer that you have can actually greatly affect what retention offers that they have for you. And the final one, multipliers. Multipliers, multipliers, multipliers. It is fantastic that you can take a card, and instead of getting a penny's worth of value for every dollar you spend, it may be 3, it may be 4, it may be 5. So it's like now, for every dollar you spend at 5%, if inflation is 4%, you're up 1. If inflation is 9%, at least you've now mitigated some of that inflation to guarantee that you're still getting as much goods and services as you would have before. Well, not as much, but at least you're not getting 9% less, now you're only getting 4% less, and so on and so forth. That is what multipliers do. They guarantee you a return on specific spending categories, which is fantastic, especially if you do something a lot, like order off of Amazon. If you drive a gas guzzler and you want to use your 5% cashback card for gas or a points earning card for gas, all these things that you do, like I have this hobby, it's something I picked up when I was young. I can't shake it. I'm not really addicted, but like there's this thing where I like to eat. So I figure I would get some cash back for eating. That's fun. I eat. I don't know if you eat, but I eat. But that is a great way to use a multiplier. Shout out to the gold card. So we like multipliers because they raise our return on spend. But again, all multipliers aren't created equal. And with so many cards having different multipliers in different categories, you will experience what I call overlap. And in some cases, you'll literally be using the wrong card to get the wrong currency because another card has a better multiplier. Case in point, you have the Amex Delta Sky Miles Reserve card, the biggest, baddest Delta co-branded card that Amex offers for specifically Delta Sky Miles, sorry. And still, the Amex Platinum out-earns every single Amex co-branded Delta card, period, point blank, forget it. That 5X, I don't even have to remember what they earn. None of them earn the points with the ferocity that the Amex Platinum does because the Amex Platinum earns 5X MR points for any purchases from Delta, which is still a higher multiplier than any of the Delta Amex cards, which is crazy because there's a $6.95 fee and a $5.50 fee. If you hold both of them, you have overlapping multipliers. Plus you have overlapping benefits like Centurion Lounge access, Delta Sky Club access. This is just an example of what it is that you might have to deal with. Especially with these multipliers, you'll look and some multipliers will be more attractive. And it's like the Terror Dome out there because now US Bank is taking a swing at the Amex Blue Cash Preferred with their multipliers on their new their new Cash Plus Shopper card. I hope I said that right, but you know the card that I'm talking about. Everybody's been talking about it. Every card is now swinging at others with multipliers, but the fact is you still have overlapping benefits, overlapping multipliers that make it, you know, a little dicey sometimes, especially when you're new in the game trying to navigate which cards to use to optimize your points and miles. So now with all that being said, these are just some points that I wanted to lay out for you because I really felt good about the business card, you know, light side, dark side. I feel like this is actually something that a lot of people could need. Hopefully this will help somebody out. And as I've said before, in all things, we got to use wisdom. We definitely don't want to get to extremes. And this is actually a great thing to be in. Points and miles are just fantastic. It really allows you to do things that you otherwise probably wouldn't do. And it's with the money you spend anyway, being a responsible human being. So I just wanted to share that with you. I appreciate you guys if you stayed all the way to the end of the video. And until next time, I'll catch you later.